Yeah, Wanda, we'll just go through and just do it one by one.
Okay, we'll give that a minute. Sorry, guys.
Yes, that's what we're doing. Thank you.
And David, why don't we just, once we get through that, we'll just start over.
Yeah, sure.
Wanda, you just let us know when you're done going through the list. Thank you.
Okay, I believe everyone should have access to record. If you do not, please let us know.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, very good. Yeah, chat, give us a chat if you do have anything, and I'll slow down a little bit. I think we're moving a little quickly there. So we'll start from the top. Good afternoon. My name is David Haynes, Managing Attorney of the Cochran Firm. Thank you for joining us today. Our law firm has been retained by the estate of James Lionel Johnson, who was 38 years old when he was needlessly shot and killed on the early morning hours of April 7th in Takoma Park, Silver Spring area. Our firm is conducting our own investigation regarding this matter. We are pleased with the announcement of the charges today, including second-degree murder charges for both James Johnson and the death of Dominique Williams. James and Dominique were best friends. James was the father of 3 young children, and he and Dominique were needlessly taken from us and shot and killed in cold blood for no reason, with no justification. Neither of them presented any threat of physical violence or physical harm to Pentagon police officer David Hall Dixon. This is a tragic, senseless act, yet another act of gun violence in our city, and it's taken from their families and our communities 2 wonderful individuals. I have with me today 3 members of James's family who I'd like to introduce to you, and we'll be making brief statements, and then we'll allow an opportunity for a few questions today as well. First, I would like to introduce Marcus Cornegie, who is James's uncle. And Marcus, at your convenience, if you could unmute. And Marcus, I would just ask you to share with the members of the media a little bit about James and the type of person he was, please.
Thank you, David. And James and I were cousins. This is just a tragic loss for our family. You know, James he was a father, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, and a friend of many. And he treated everyone that crossed his path with love and respect, like they were family. And we're just, as a family, really struggling with this, trying to put logic around why he was taken away from us, missing his energy, missing his voice. It's just really tough, David. I mean, our communities, they're plagued by gun violence and excessive force from those who are charged to protect and serve. And it's hitting really close to home for our family. We appreciate all the support that we've been getting to date from the community. And we wanted to just make sure that James's voice is heard, that he's well represented, that there's justice coming for what happened to him, and that we honor his memory day in and day out going forward. So, you know, I thank you, David, for giving me the opportunity, and we look forward to seeing justice done for James.
Thank you, Marcus. I'd also next like to introduce Janae, who was the girlfriend of James and father of his young child, who's not quite 1 year old. Janae, if you could, I think you're on mute, but if you could unmute for us for a moment, thank you. And if you could just share with us the type of person James was and what you'll miss. I know you're grieving.
So James, to me, he was one of a kind. Like, I couldn't find nobody else like him. Not the things that he said, how he taught me so well, you know. And he's an entertainer. He always loved to entertain people, love to be the life of the party and start the party, and show people that we can do better as a community. What I'm gonna miss the most about him is just us laughing together, coming home to him when coming home from work, and he's there cooking dinner for me. I mean, the list can go on because I seen him every day. I didn't expect him not to come home last night or even in the morning time. I didn't expect it.
Okay, thank you, Janae. And I know a couple of people had asked for spellings in the chat. You'll have Marcus Cornegay's spelling there of his name on the right. Last name is Kornegay. Marcus is with a C. It's the cousin of the late James Johnson. That was Janae, Janae. And now at this time, I would like to introduce Lakeisha Johnson. I believe the spelling of her full name is coming up on the Zoom, so everyone should see that under her profile, and she's unmuted. Lakeisha, if you could also share with us just a couple of memories or things about James as well.
Hi. So just as Janae stated, he was the life of the party. His smile could light up the darkest rooms. He had a heart of gold, and he loved his family. He loved his community. He loved his friends. Anything you ever needed from him, he was there. He was just a phone call away, and he will truly, truly, truly be missed.
Thank you, Lakeisha. Also, I'd like to share that we understand that the investigation has moved. If everyone else could mute at your convenience, we understand that this and Janae, if you could mute, there you go. As I mentioned before, we do appreciate the swiftness with which the Takoma Park Police Department has moved, as well as State's Attorney John McCarthy and his office. There are additional details, of course, that are not yet known. We are interested to know whether or not Officer Dixon discharged his Pentagon issued service revolver or not. We also do not accept the theory that he was only acting as a private citizen. We consider that this was a shooting by a police officer. Officers under their general orders and their directives and their training are never off duty. And again, we're interested to know if it was a service weapon that was fired. So this is early in the investigation, but we certainly will be pursuing all aspects of this case. And we certainly do not treat this as an incident of just a private citizen, but rather this was another senseless shooting by a police officer, be it on shift or off shift or not. There's no information that we've been made aware of and have no reason to believe that there were any firearms in the vehicle that these three individuals were in. As I mentioned earlier, there's no information that they presented any physical threat or threat of bodily injury. The vehicle that they were in, that they were leaving at the time that they were shot, which we understand to be a BMW, was owned by a third individual who survived the incident, and that was his vehicle. So it's very clear to us that this is in no way a justified shooting in any way, means, shape, or form. And that's the reason for the very serious criminal charges that have been taken out. We will continue to evaluate and monitor the criminal investigation as it unfolds and advising and represent the family. We appreciate the members of the Silver Spring community, Montgomery County, and the DC area at large for their support and the public support for, unfortunately, what are two more victims of police violence. At this time, we will take a couple questions from the media, but we're going to keep it fairly short here for the benefit of the family.
Do you guys, hey there, this is Annalisa with ABC7. Do you all have photos of the victims that you could share?
Yes, we are collecting those, Annalise, and Mr. Julison, who's our representative, will get that to you.
Okay, second question, and then I'll move on. Today in the press conference, they mentioned the fact that they believe that you were there for a car break-in. Any statement on that?
We have not received any credible information about that firsthand. Our investigation is ongoing, but regardless of whether or not there was an alleged property crime that may or may not have been ongoing previously, that in no way justifies the use of deadly force in any way, or serious lethal force. So regardless of whether that was or wasn't occurring, this shooting was in no way justified.
This is John Henry with Channel 9. You said they were getting into a friend's car. So did the friend live at that residence at the condominium?
We're not aware. I don't believe so, but we're not aware of that, John, at this time. That's part of our investigation, which is ongoing.
And one more question for me. Any knowledge in your all's end if Mr. Johnson ever came into prior contact with Mr. Dixon?
Not to our knowledge at this time. Investigation's ongoing.
This is Justin Juvenile from the Washington Post. Have you discovered anything that was troubling in Mr. Dixon's background? Do you have any issues with his service as a police officer or anything else?
At this time, those background checks and information are ongoing. We do understand that there was a call previously to this residence. It was referenced in the press conference today in Silver Spring. It was unclear to us if that was in a call in response to Mr. Dixon. That seemed to be the implication from the press conference. We are aware of some of his prior employment in the military. And of course, at this very early stage, we're not privy to his police or personnel records, but we will be very interested in obtaining some at the appropriate time.
Mr. Haynes, Brad Bell from Channel 7. It was asserted by the police chief of Takoma Park today that Mr. Dixon was operating as a private citizen, that he had no law enforcement authority. For obvious reasons, you're interested in that particular aspect of it. Why do you say that he was operating as a police officer? He was not in uniform.
Correct. And that's why the issue of whether he was using a service revolver is important, but under the general orders of police departments, typically they are charged with the duty that they're never fully off duty, that 24/7 under their general orders and training, that if they do see a crime underway, that they are then to react to that. And so therefore, it's our position, and we've had other matters, unfortunately, where the same issue has come up, that particularly if they're using their service revolver, that the department, they're acting under the course and scope of their training because he mistakenly believed that a property crime was occurring. And I think he will probably testify that he acted in accordance with his training and guidance, although it was misguided and it was an error. So we do not accept that he was acting just as a private citizen, and that's something we'll be actively investigating.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap.
I'm sorry. One more question here. I mean, I know that you said you didn't know if the friend lived at the condominium. Do you have any idea as to why everyone was meeting at that condominium complex?
We do not know at this time those details. It'd be premature for us to comment, but we are continuing to investigate.
A question for the cousin one more time, Marcus. Marcus, what was your initial reaction when you heard about what happened on Wednesday, when you heard about the accusation and what transpired?
I was shocked, naturally shocked to hear, news from my family that James had been taken away from us. Shocked to read the report, shocked that, I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was quite shocked to see the immediate push to criminalize James in that report. So all of those things just took me mentally to a place where I was just frustrated, angry, quite honestly, and disappointed, right? And again, we all grieve in our own way, and we as a family are doing the best to make sure that we honor James, that we create a going home service for him that honors him, And we all know as a family what type of person he is. So, you know, that news was tough for us, and was even tougher was the way they portrayed him in that write-up.
Thank you, Marcus. This will conclude the press conference today. We will, as this is obviously a developing story. Our investigation is continuing. As additional information becomes available, you can reach out to us. Ryan Julison, you have his contact, is the Cochran Firm's press agent. We appreciate the interest and support of the media and the community at this difficult time, respecting the privacy of the family. We wanted to give an opportunity for them to participate in this forum so that all requests can be directed through their counsel, the Cochran Firm. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon and evening.
Thank you.